Welcome to YourTown television program. I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab, and I have a very exciting guest today who's only going to be with us briefly. And her name, and you probably hear her, is Miss Adelia Rose. So let's have a look at Miss Adelia. Adelia. Good morning. Adelia is the beautiful daughter. Well, hi, sweetheart. Beautiful daughter of my guest who is going to stay with me the whole time, I hope. Adelia just wanted to give a great hello, and then she's going to exit stage right, and we're going to talk with her mom.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea.
Stage right. Bye, Adelia. We'll check back in with you later. Oh, well, what a delight. Julie Renee Doering. Wow. I've had the privilege of knowing this wonderful woman for 5 or 6 years, and she is a master health activator. One might ask what that means. I did, of course. A speaker, an author, an absolute change agent in the world today. And I'm going to let Julie Renee tell her story because she will do it far better than I possibly could. Welcome to the program, Julie Renee.
Thank you, Paula. It's nice to be here.
It's great to see you again, and what a beautiful addition to your lovely family.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think it makes sense to talk to our audience, our viewing audience, a bit about your background so we understand we're all given gifts. And you've been given some extraordinary ones in some extraordinary ways. And I'd love you to share that story if you would, and then move forward into where it's taken you. So.
Yeah. Well, Paula, you've heard my story before, but I literally survived the atomic bomb testing as a child in the Nevada desert. We were on vacation with my family, and they were doing underground bomb testing. And from that, at about age 18, apparently, I started developing tumors, but we didn't know about it. And at age 24, I had developed terminal cancer. I had follicular thyroid cancer with papillary tendencies. And it was pretty advanced, and I was pregnant with my third child at that point, and they really didn't think that I would survive the pregnancy. So I had 2 surgeries while I was pregnant with my son, and then 3 more after his birth. I was 97 pounds, and I died the first time. So the first time I died, I was 97 pounds, very, very sick. And through that experience of dying and then coming back into the body, I watched my life pass before me. I became aware that I was not finished, that I didn't want to leave. I knew I was here for a special reason. And I remember very clearly, as if it were like a minute ago, pushing myself back into my body and saying, I'm not ready to go. And animating my body again. So my body was crumpled up on the floor. I was like 10 feet over it, and I animated my body again and started force-feeding myself, and just really this incredible will to survive. And I did survive, and I survived with great illness and a lot of suffering for a long time. I had 17 surgeries. I had 2 kinds of cancer and 10 years of radiation treatment. And at some point, I was in a wheelchair for a year, told I would never walk without unbearable pain, and I would eventually end up just bedbound. So we move from that phase into another phase where I'm working on healing others and helping others. And every year I have some huge disaster. And I go into my garden in prayer and meditation and say, God, you promised me the Garden of Eden, and I've been living in hell on earth, and I want the Garden of Eden. So I demand it. Take me or make me well, but I want the Garden of Eden. And praying and chanting and meditating, I raised my own energy up to a higher level, just really honoring and glorifying God. And in that very first day, I began to watch my cells regenerate. As a matter of fact, in that moment, I was watching a master cell in my mind's eye. So not literally, but I could see in my mind's eye, I could see this master cell, a stem cell that had been with me since conception, was going from very, very, very sick to very well. And I was watching it go well. And all of a sudden it became this pulsing blue orb. And it was so beautiful and startling to me, because what I realized, I'd always been referring to my body as made of clay. My body was just this clay. But what I realized in that moment is that every part of us, not just spirit, but every part of us is God. And that pulsing blue orb it's God's state. And I began to regenerate. And very, very rapidly, I was walking without canes and walking without pain. Within 6 months, I was running 30 miles a week on a mountain trail, running, which was something I was never going to do again. I was dancing on stage with a rock and roll band, and I was having a good life. My friends who were scientists and doctors were watching this transformation, and they couldn't believe it, because in addition to me having more vitality, more energy, and being able to do things I couldn't do before, I was also looking 10 years, 20 years younger. There was something happening to me where my age was also reversing, where I had looked like an old, tired woman. I was now looking like this vibrant, youthful person. As a matter of fact, many people would say, I can't believe what you look like. You look like the daughter of yourself a couple years ago. So there was like saying, you changed so much.
Right.
And from that, the scientists and doctors asking me, I began to write books. And my first book, Your Divine Human Blueprint, 600 pages, about how I could explain how I was using the quantum field to shift reality for myself and for my clients. And then went on to, I've written many books at this point. But the whole purpose of my life, I feel, and I had another death experience, and in both cases, it was like, no, I'm not leaving. And that was another thing that was so amazing to me as I discovered that is it's not over until we say it's over.
I've got to interrupt you here and ask you a burning question.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect segue into it. Do you feel, in your experience, Julie Renee, how, if any, is prayer of others a factor to bring a person who is in a near-death or a death experience to hear their prayers and their entreaties, to have you turn your back on what you see ahead of you and decide to come back? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. I think the prayers of others are incredibly helpful. And here's what I know about prayer. Prayer is very, very powerful. And in each case, when I came back, I said, God, I'm not ready to go. And so in a way, prayer, because I'm communicating with God, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to go down that path. I want to stay on the path I'm on. And then what I know about people who have passed and they're stuck, the prayers of others can unstuck them. It can get them into heaven. So people who maybe died a traumatic death where it was a brutal or a violent death or an abrupt death, prayers of others can move them out of this very stuck on the earth plane into the heavenly realms. So absolutely that helps so much.
So what is prayer?
Prayer. Yeah, I love that you're asking that. Gosh, I pray fairly constantly. I can also advise on how to pray. Prayer is a conversation with the divine. You're both having a conversation with the heavenly Father, Mother, however you view that. You're having that conversation, but you're also having it with that field of oneness. So that field of oneness is responsive to how you're directing your world. I mean, we talk about the law of attraction. So when you pray, don't come as a beggar.
Right.
Come as an entitled child of the divine and the universe. And so when you ask for help by saying, thank you for giving me help, and thank you for all the help you've already given me. And thank you for everything that you've provided and for helping me shift my reality so that I might experience more grace and ease in this area of my life, or more health or more vitality. But as you come as a beggar, your energy signal is very low and very little shifts. And as you come entitled because you're worthy, because we all are, when you come in that way, the universe responds so rapidly. It's so instant.
Yeah, we are all precious divine beings, I believe, and that's what I'm hearing you say. Talk about love. Love is a powerful powerful thing. Today is Valentine's Day, and it's a day that we're aware and we celebrate love. And how do we have every day be Valentine's Day? And I don't mean in the Hallmark card, God bless Hallmark cards. They often, and I'm being only somewhat facetious here. The beauty of the written word and Hallmark cards or any other cards have communicated for generations, and I hope for generations to come, the beauty of that written word that some of us don't know how to say. We feel it in our hearts, and we don't know how to say it, and what a beautiful thing it is. And that's why cards are so precious, and I encourage you all to utilize them because they are precious and they're life-changing. To have those sentiments and those feelings put into words. Can you speak to love?
Yeah. First of all, love and the frequency that I'm talking about that incredible healing, is one and the same. So God and love are one and the same, or transformation and the level that we're talking about is one and the same. And I had the privilege, I write, and I had the privilege of writing a love letter to my grandmother when she was 96. And Grandma had lost Grandpa when he was like 64, so she had been alone for like 33 years. And very sad, and nobody could kind of reach her. I mean, you could speak to her and she would speak back, and she had her standard little quotes that she would say, about blessings and God, but she really wasn't the vibrant grandma I knew. And I spent 4 months, you don't have to spend 4 months writing this letter, but I did. I thought about stories from my childhood, about who she was to me in my childhood. And I wrote about the way she would put on a feast for the whole family. We had this huge family. And she would roll out the dough. She made the old German, she spoke in German. And she would roll out the dough and we'd have all these yummy foods. And I said, you would be like a caterer. I mean, you'd be, and then I think about the organization and an event planner. And I would write, I wrote many, many thoughts and ended up with like this beautiful 10-page letter that I had created in the computer. And then I got this gorgeous paper and I wrote it all out by hand. And I got this gorgeous envelope from India with all the little sparkles and the ribbons. And I sent it to her. And it entirely came from my heart to her heart. It was entirely meant to just tell her, you are amazing. I love you. And
what a gift to her.
Well, the result was so remarkable. Sorry, let me think about it.
That's fine.
Grandma woke up.
Wow.
That 30-some years of depression and sadness went away.
Yeah.
And she became bubbly.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
I got calls from all my aunts and uncles thanking me because no one could wake her up. And I think about, sorry, we're going to cry through this a little bit, but I think about the power that we wield and the power that we have and we don't use.
Right.
All
of us have.
We all have it, which is just, there are people who need to be told that they're valuable, that they're important, that we love them.
Yeah. Oh, what an amazing, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your tears. That's the genuine expression of the real truth of it, and we can all do that, and we all do have it inside, and in fact, you teach classes and courses on this.
I do. Yes.
What are some of the courses that you're teaching now? Because I know people want some of this. I know this.
Well, I've just taught a class, so it's now available on Home Study. Steph you need to know about love and relationships that your parents didn't teach you.
Oh my goodness, repeat that one.
Stuff you need to know about love and relationships that your parents didn't teach you.
Wow.
So that was a fantastic class. We have also a class on karma clearing, which deals with all the past stuff from this day back. And we have the 7 stages of love right now that we're going through. So the higher stages of soulmate and divine complement are in those groups.
Wonderful. And I want to share really quickly, because we've only got a few minutes and I could talk to you forever,
Oh my gosh.
as we do.
Yeah.
I want to share these books that you've written. Tell us about them just quickly.
Well, these 2 are illumination. They're the rosary, and they're for awakening your heart and really connecting with the Divine Mother. They're amazing. And you know what I love about these books is even though it's written kind of following more of a traditional rosary, people from all traditions.
Yes.
I have Jewish people and Islamic people. They do these prayers and their heart opens. And so it's like this, really, it's something for everyone. It speaks to everyone.
Beautiful. And this lovely book.
And that's a poetry book. And it's breaking through. It's poems that I wrote in the place where I was still in the darkness. I was still, I was searching to have that breakthrough. And so those are poems of longing for closeness with the divine, of kind of wondering and pondering, why is life challenging? So that one is called Breaking Through.
Julie Renee, how can people reach you to find out about your classes, more about your work? Tell us your website, your phone number, your contact information, please.
Well, julierenee.com is going to get you everything. There's a place to contact us there. Julie Renee, JULIERENEE.com. And all the classes, you just click on the events button, you're going to see all the different classes that we have. So that's really the best way to get me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And we are blessed here on the Monterey Peninsula because you live right here in Carmel Valley in a beautiful home, and so she's accessible to us and we can find her. Thank you so much. As always, it's such an honor and a privilege to talk with you, to speak with you, and to hear your wisdom. I just can't wait to continue the conversations. You've been listening and watching to YourTown television program. I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab. We've been speaking with Julie Renee Doering, an amazing quantum health activator, and now we all know what that is. Join us again, and thanks for being with us.